Hey there, everybody, and welcome to Kicker Rock's podcast, Two Drink Minimum. This is episode 4, and this one's going to be a little bit different. I just recently got a brand spanking new microphone, kids. I'm actually recording on it right now as we speak. And a few weeks ago, I wanted to take it out for a little bit of a test drive. So I stopped over at my friend Patrick Koman's house, a very good friend of mine, and we did a little impromptu podcast. We had a couple of cold beers, threw back a little bit of Johnny Walker Green label. Not quite the tippy top shelf, but top shelf enough. Trust me on that one. Delicious. And we shot the bull. Had a great conversation. We talked mostly about music in this one. Pat, as you'll hear, is a music aficionado. So yeah, we had a great conversation. It was a lot of fun. And, here it is. Enjoy. So let's, we got to begin, I think, with a little cheers.
Cheers.
Toast action. Pat, my friend, thank you for having me over, man.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming over.
I just was in the area, so
Yeah.
I decided
Actually,
to knock on your door and you just let me in. It was
right.
great.
Actually, that would be an awesome scenario. We only live like a mile and a half apart, and that was like the
We're
whole
not that
excitement
far.
and point of
Yeah.
us like living in this town together.
Yeah.
And I saw you more in the Ukrainian village.
That's funny. That's
Yeah.
true. When we lived there, yeah. Well, I've outgrown you.
Yeah.
so-
No, whatever. Yeah. You had good coffee over there.
A great coffee over there. The Dark Matter.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What was it? Star Lounge or something?
Star
that served
Lounge.
it?
Yeah. Oh man, that coffee.
Speaking of which, if you guys are in the hospital district downtown, Dark Matter is served at Do Right Donuts, which has an awesome vanilla bean donut. Free.
A vanilla bean donut.
Yeah, it's just a regular like glazed donut. I don't know if there's actual vanilla bean in it, but if they
Fantastic.
put the words vanilla bean, you can charge $3 for a donut.
Yeah. It's probably delicious though too. It sounds
hella
like
delicious.
it.
Yeah.
All right.
So, anyway, yes. All right. So you and I have rambled a few times already.
Yeah, we're here.
in our tests.
Yeah, we're here to mostly talk about music and coffee.
Sure, yeah,
Apparently,
I'll
why
allow
not?
it.
The things that we love.
Yeah.
So we got to start. We got to talk music because for as long as I've known you, and I've known you a long time. For those who don't know, me and Pat been friends for a while now, and he is my go-to for everything that involves music. I mean, you've always been you've had your finger on the pulse of the industry in general, and just you have this sixth sense of just knowing like what's going to be a hit and what to listen to. You're always throwing new things, and not just my way. You throw it in at a bunch of friends. You throw new songs you hear, and you're like, you got to listen to this, check it out. So you're I consider an expert on the subject to a certain extent, if you don't mind me saying so. But there
I
it is.
suppose
So that's what we're doing.
I can allow it. I actually I appreciated Czar of Horror Punk in Chicagoland, which JT gave me a while back.
Yeah.
But I can't probably accept any of these titles anymore. Elderly.
I like Czar of Horror Punk. Though.
No, it was awesome.
JT
And
called you that
yeah,
at one
yeah,
point? That's
yeah.
great.
I was in the scene.
JT, if you're listening, good one.
Yeah,
That's
right.
Good. It's a good title.
But
Of course he's listening. He's part of Kick Rock. Why would you not be listening to this podcast?
check out the first 2 episodes, man. They're
Jeez,
awesome.
they're great.
Or whatever. They no matter when
You're in the first one, so
Yeah.
you better listen.
It was good.
All right.
You did well. But sure. All right. Fine. I'll allow it. It's a hobby of mine. I'm not a musician.
Right.
I'm a collector. It's my. If I were to kick booze, coffee, food, and my wife, it would be the only addiction I have. Then otherwise,
Got it. So it's like a hard 5 on the list then.
It is.
like the fifth thing.
It's obvious. I always want to find something new or new to me.
Yeah, man. Let's get into that. You know what we talked about when we were doing our little test run through here, and what we're kind of chit chatting about what we were gonna make the podcast about, you came up with a great idea, which was, let's talk about some of our firsts. So let's go into first about with music experiences. And so I guess let's start with first time that you can remember, or one of the first times, where you heard a song or a band, you saw them live, or you listened to an album and you were like, it just spoke to you. You were like, yes, this is my music. You know what I mean? Because we do kind of claim it when we hear it the first time. I feel like we're like, oh, this is me right here. This is my band. This is my music. Right
we have many.
You and I probably both share some similar ones.
I can't remember. The one I can remember best is a little deeper into all of it. But I'm sure one of the first ones would be Metallica of some sort. Because my first two comeuppance with Metallica was actually in Bernie J's basement. His dad had Kill 'Em All, which is Metallica's first album, and he had the Black Album, which is like your standard, if I like rock and roll, I have to own the Black Album. And so they had the ever awesome 6-disc changer, and so whenever I could get participating, that I would throw those two Metallica albums in there, and we would do our thing in his basement, which, I mean, could be as crazy as we used to sit down. That's the thing about teenage years. You could listen to music. That's something that people don't grow up with anymore. That's the amazing thing about albums, is like people used to sit down and listen to music.
To the whole album. Yeah, for sure.
So that was something that, I'm sorry, Jay, it's going to be Bernie a few times, if not all the time. You probably won't listen ever anyway. You never know.
He might be.
Yeah.
But anyway, he apologizes for that comment.
Yes. But anyway, Bernie and I would sit in his basement, throw 6 CDs in.
Yeah.
He had a nice long, like this bungalow style, but it wasn't a bungalow necessarily. I mean, by all definitions, it just wasn't this one.
Yeah.
But he had the nice long house, and we would roll a billiard ball, pool ball. We'd sit across the entire basement and just roll it back and forth to each other. Maybe talking, BSing, listening to the music, but it was really just about sitting there listening to music. So, anyway, that's how I caught a couple of Metallicas. Another one, probably before that, like a even earlier memory, I remember liking Huey Lewis a lot with my parents and whatnot.
Okay.
I don't think they had the albums necessarily, but Huey Lewis was huge in the 80s, Back to the Future appearance and whatnot.
Sure.
So he
Power of Love and Love to Be Square.
Exactly, yeah. He was rock and roll, like it was my first rock and roll that maybe sounded like real rock and roll as opposed to like the 80s rock and roll, because when you think 80s rock and roll, don't go to hair metal, because hair metal wasn't really on radio. Like when I grew up in the 80s, which is the same 80s you grew up in. Like,
is it?
I don't know.
That's the same 80s.
Well, no, but I do like to.
You got a year or two on
years.
Me, but
yes.
All right.
But the 2 years can be everything.
It could be.
But I don't know. It was the first like rock and roll. There was something cool to Huey Lewis. But the one I want to point out to you then that I do remember is when I was hanging out with Lance Hector, because that was one of my next best friend after Bernie and I kind of moved on to our different directions. And Lance had an older brother, which is like a big deal, Sure. You don't know it necessarily, but you probably had influence. I know you probably had influence on Paul. But big brothers always kind of seem to be in the know and have something new for you. I mean, look at Stranger Things with the big brother showing little brother, what was the Clash maybe or something? I don't remember.
That's definitely a future podcast. That show is amazing.
Yeah,
I love it so much.
I finally bit, and people are right. Usually
Did you
I don't
binge
like to
it?
follow the No, we're doing good. Like maybe an episode a day. I'm only 4
Really?
episodes deep, and 4th episode is like
in what, the first season or second season?
First season.
Whoa.
Just started. Yeah, I don't trust people. Because Game of Thrones is not doing it for me. I know you're a professional at that.
I mean, self-proclaimed. But I like the show.
We're going to allow it. If you're on kickerrock.com, folks, go ahead and read the blog.
Check out that blog and ignore the fact that the finale one isn't written yet. But I'm saving it for when there's.
It doesn't matter. You're just listening now. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
ignore that for now.
So
it'll be there. I promise.
I don't even know how I got there. But Lance Hector. Oh, older brother. Yes. All right. So Lance just had a plethora of music that I hadn't heard yet, like stuff that's been out. I just haven't heard it yet. So shout out to Chad Hector as well, I guess. But he had this album called American Psycho.
Misfits.
Yes,
Absolutely. One of their best as well.
Listen through a couple of
Is it
whatever
90,
songs.
96?
It's something old.
Ish, right around there?
Yeah,
Mid-90s,
mid-90s, we'll
for
call
sure.
it, for sure. I didn't discover it till, I guess I wasn't that old. Probably right before Famous Monsters, though. So that was like kind of a nice thing. Is I discovered American Psycho,
And those
only
two were
like
back
a year.
To back, right? Like there were their
No,
albums.
they're like
They weren't. There was
4
an
years
album
apart or
between.
something.
There was an album
they're back
between
to
those?
back. I'm sorry, I didn't know what you meant by back
Oh,
to back.
back to back Misfits albums.
Yes.
I mean.
Okay. Yes. Sequential or whatever.
Oh yeah, and both of them. Those are both first. Not to cut you off.
No.
but I totally did. Whenever somebody says not to cut you off, they totally cut you off.
Yeah. No offense,
Side
but you're an
note.
asshole.
No offense,
right?
but yeah, right. Believe you me. Hate that saying. Anyway, Famous Monsters and American Psycho. Those two. First of all,
Hold on.
Easily favorite Misfit
I know you're
albums,
interrupting, but
but-
seriously think about the first time you heard "Dig Up Her Bones," because that's the one I'm getting at. It blew me away.
Mm-hmm.
I was at the age of maybe 16 or so, 15. It was still like you're old enough where you don't necessarily want to listen to your favorite song over and over again. I was back into that mode. I could listen to that song on repeat.
Yep.
Probably 6 times in a row, no problem.
I had it on a cassette, and that poor cassette is probably burnt out.
Okay.
After I was done with it,
It's
back in the day when I had my truck, my F-150,
Yes.
had a cassette player
Blue.
built in, and I believe it was you. It had to be you. Made me a mixtape.
Okay, yeah.
I never had a
wait,
girl.
Literally a mixtape.
Mixtape,
Oh,
not a
get
mix CD.
out.
No, and here's the thing: I've never had a girl in my life make me a mixtape, but I have had you make me a mixtape. And
Hold on.
it was
For all of you who don't know,
amazing.
I am, until his lovely wife, I definitely was the best girlfriend you ever had.
yeah.
Like,
There's no doubt.
yeah.
There's no doubt. I mean, that's very true. Sad, but very true. But very true. But yeah,
Hey.
and I had it. I would put it in my truck whenever I was driving anywhere, and it was this like a punk mix, but it definitely had some Misfits stuff, and of course, Dig Up Her Bones was right there.
Is that kind of
And-
how the first time? You and I never necessarily covered that. You must have maybe told me. I have terrible memory, as
Of
you know,
what?
but
Of what?
I just really don't know the first time you heard it, though. That must have been the first time, maybe on that tape, or maybe you heard it with me in my car. Or
No,
something like
you
that?
made me the tape after. Here's the thing.
so I
Here's
knew
what's
you
funny.
liked the song at that
Here's
point?
what's funny. I didn't have. This was the time of CDs, but I didn't have a CD player in my truck. So you actually made me a cassette tape, knowing that I didn't
'Cause
have a
that's
CD
how
player. That's how I would
much
be
I
able to hear
cared.
it.
Yes,
that's how
okay.
much you cared.
Yeah.
That was how much I
About you and just mostly probably my own hidden agenda of
Right.
you must hear this.
That would be the way for me to hear it in my truck.
Okay,
not having
fine.
a CD player built
Fine.
in.
I have to go back upstairs to my room and actually dust off that thing. But yes, I'll do that.
I am forever a technology generation behind.
Yeah, just
Like,
behind the times. That's fine.
I always get,
He's a real life hipster.
yeah, with video games especially, right? Like,
Yeah.
when Sega came out, I got my Nintendo. You know what I mean? It was
Okay.
one of those things, and
Yeah.
I was always a whatever
Yeah.
behind.
And
but,
it only makes sense.
well, that's okay. But yeah, that poor tape is probably, God knows where it is now. It's probably done for. But I did frequently rewind play for that
Okay,
song.
for that song,
'Cause that
yeah.
song kicks ass. It just kicks ass.
It is.
There's
It's
something
their
about
legend.
it where it's just gets you amped. The way that it's sung, that version of it with Michael Graves and his vocals is gorgeous. I
Yeah.
mean, it sounds amazing. So
The video is actually a pretty good video.
and the
if you
video is a
remember.
fun video too.
Okay, yeah.
That whole album though, American Psycho is
Famous Monsters, I think, will
and
top
Famous
it, actually,
Monsters.
though.
You think it tops it?
Yeah, if I had to pick one, I have no problem picking Famous
You know what?
Monsters.
That's one too. We've definitely driven around in a car singing out loud "Famous Monsters." That's
Absolutely.
That's
like,
happened a couple
till
times.
Horse,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we used to do, like back in the day, kids. But yeah,
Which
a
is
night
actually
out for
another,
us.
another shout out to Bernie. I believe you and I were driving to Bernie's that one
Absolutely.
time. It was
Absolutely.
almost a full album.
It was
because
it was
he
it was
lived
us
in-
driving to Bernie's, or it was often you, me, and Steve in the car too. Steve Boss, for those in the know. But we would listen. A night out was us driving around listening to music, and and it was you were often the driver, as I remember. You had that white.
No, I was the 2 years older guy.
Yeah. What was it? What was the white?
The white car was the Cougar.
The Cougar.
Yeah,
I always called it the Concorde, didn't I?
Okay. Oh, maybe yes. It was an
the
'80s Cougar though, with
Yeah.
something wrong with the shocks or something. It was like driving on a boat.
Yeah, but it was awesome.
You hit a bump and you bounced for probably a full block still.
Oh,
Just
it was awesome.
bounce. It was beautiful.
Oh. I got a story about the Cougar later.
Hold on. All right, so let's go back to
ahead.
the Cavalier, which was my, the car I drove in high school, which was my dad's car, which was, his dad's car actually.
Okay.
But I remember it's just like a snippet of a memory. But speaking of like going around, just driving around, listening to music or whatever, do you remember the time that we went to, where was it? It was maybe an ice cream shop of some sort. Half a finger, please.
A little refill?
Yes, please.
All right.
On 99th, somewhere by the metro tracks, and it was when we were, trying to hang out with girls and impress them, and not impress them in cool ways or anything, but just be peacocking in the worst way possible. But we went to an ice cream shop with a couple of our friends, which just was a mixed group of people, and if people in Chicagoland remember, there was something called the Jammin' Oldies, which was 103.5. But 103.5 was a hard rock station, like hard rock. Metallica, Pantera, Megadeth. They died. Chicago, for some reason, for those not in Chicagoland, Chicago hates hard rock. Like old hard rock, new hard rock, nothing will survive.
But they love their oldies. Though.
Yes. So anyway, Jammin' Oldies was a thing, which was the Gap Band, Morris Day and the Time. Do you remember that? Because we were working at the Plaza listening to that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, you and I think...
Oh, we.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
You Dropped a Bomb on Me came on, I believe.
Oh.
I cranked that. You and I get out of our car in the parking lot and just have a dance party. Do you remember this or no? Okay. Mm-hmm. And it was a full-fledged Jammin' Oldies dance party.
I want to amend and say one of the dance parties.
Okay, sure, I'm sure.
That we just stopped and decided, no, we got to get out of the car right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the middle of some random parking lot. Whatever. Yeah.
That's teenagers.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're dumb.
But that was a night out, It was,
right. You have nothing to do. You have a little bit of money.
Ride around, listen to music. If you see somebody, maybe you stop.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, anyway, how about you? Do you have a first time hearing something that triggered just the fact that it floors you? I mean, because that, like I said, I do remember that dig up her bones moment. I remember where I was, where I was going. I didn't, and it's still up here, which is impressive.
That's awesome. I grew up with Oldies 104.3 was the station never changed in our car driving around, right? My parents, they never...
It's one of the longest lasting ones actually here too.
And it's still going. It's not Oldies 104.3. Now it's 94.7 now.
Yes.
But,
Is it the same call letters and stuff? Is it the same people, do you know?
I know...
Same host?
Dick Biondi.
Stuff? Okay, yeah.
Dick
good old
Biondi,
Dick.
Right. He's still going. He's still going. I think he's got like a later shift now, if I'm not mistaken, but I've heard him.
I believe he's a robot, though. I read that somewhere.
He's since been cloned because there's no better DJ than Dick Biondi.
Right, you got to keep that
honest, going. But yeah, I grew up with that. So when I was introduced to different music, and I still to this day love oldies. I love Motown. I love oldies. I'm a big Beatles fan. Rolling Stones. I mean, anything that was on 104.3, I grew up with. I thought that was like real music. And to some extent to this day, it definitely is. It holds up. I still love the oldies, but...
You do. It actually shows.
It shows,
time.
yeah.
Like, I can tell that is in you.
I love it, but I can't help that. But when I was exposed to different music, and you have a big part to play in that. But the moment that's coming to me right now, a friend in high school gave me a Flogging Molly CD. It was their first big full album. They had one before that, I think an EP. Okay. I want to say Alive Behind the Green Door, something like that. But what would later become my favorite band, he gave me the CD, Swagger, their album, and I put it in, and it was one of those, I hit play, and from the moment I heard that first song, I sat in my kitchen, and I just sat there listening to it, really quiet, right? Because I was in my kitchen, I'm just listening, I want to hear it on the CD player, and I'm just listening to all the songs go. And so I couldn't really jam out.
High school, though, you said?
Yeah, this is high school.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wasn't really
similar and same thing though. Like
Yeah.
so,
I wasn't exposed to punk or anything like that.
You're susceptible to grabbing and punk in general, I guess.
Definitely.
Something like that. So it could have been,
Definitely, and Flogging Molly, I guess, for their first album, I mean, I could see like they were classified as a, Irish punk band, or whatever. They did punk. They were poppy. They did traditional Irish sounds in their
I think
and
that's
instruments.
a very fair, label.
Yeah,
though.
so I think they were a
specify.
little bit of everything. I wouldn't classify them as one specific thing because
No, you can't.
The great part to this day, I think, about that band is that they can get you amped up and going with a fast blitz of a song, and they can also slow it down and be really just lyrical and whimsical. You know what I mean? And make you think and make you even like tear up, especially if you've had a few whiskeys. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, oh. So that I remember that listening in my kitchen specifically to that first album and being like, I love this band. I need to know more about this band. When are they making more music? 12 songs is not enough for me. You know what I mean?
Did you have the CD booklet out and everything?
And you know me, I love lyrics, so I'm reading along with the lyrics.
It's a beautiful thing. That goes back to me rambling a little bit about how people used to sit down and listen to music, take it in, look at hold your the vinyl, your record, you have it on the thing, but you're holding that big piece of cardboard and just looking at that art, maybe opening it up and pulling out the sleeve and.
That's great.
Same thing, though. I remember then another one then, which you and I can share, is The Used, their debut album.
The Used, also titled The Used.
Yeah,
That's a great
self-titled debut. I remember that's another
they
memory.
Exploded when they came out, man. They were awesome.
That's actually a curse. That's something else that we can kind of go off of here. Is like explosive debut albums. It's got to be tough. It's got to be tough because around
to follow up that.
Yes, exactly. Most actually do fine. They can't surpass it necessarily, but you can create a decent follow up. But I do, in regards to them, I had a similar moment where I remember, you got your hormones and emotions in a terrible mix and whatnot, and I remember just sitting in my bed. Listening to that album, reading the lyrics, just sitting there, like just taking it in, and I don't know,
because those lyrics they were pretty deep lyrics. As I remember, there was pretty deep cut.
I couldn't tell you.
Lyrics.
That's actually an interesting thing about me and my music affinity for music. I barely care about lyrics.
Really.
Except for...
So we're opposites next.
Yes,
I love lyrics.
I'm a sonic person. I like... It sounds like a stupid thing to say, but that's why I love horror punk. It's silly lyrics almost.
It is. A lot of them
because that's what a lot of people are like. All my friends who didn't get it, it's like, that's hilarious. It sounds kind of beautiful, but they're talking about chopping off someone's head. And
right. It's a 50s doo-wop, right? But it's about murdering.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So that's what I guess I'm, I've always been difficult. I don't mean to be, but I am. I always am anti. I want the opposite of everything. I don't want to be a part of your stupid thing or whatever. I don't know what my problem is, but I don't do it on purpose.
It's one of just problems.
Yeah, right. It's one of my many, yes. But I don't mean to do it. It just is the way, and it makes sense. I can defend all of it. But that said, I have an appreciation for lyrics, but mostly, for some reason, in the hip hop rap area, I don't need things to be. I like clever, and usually that's where they get clever. Is those ones. I like a strong, clear message though too. So. I don't dislike lyrics. I guess I don't care as much.
Okay.
But tell me something about like one of your favorite songs lyric wise, like how it grabs you and why. Does it actually grab you, that content, the bundling of words? Does it? I'm genuinely curious because I don't get it sometimes.
Sure.
Actually,
Sure. So, to give you an example, the song is called, and it's not necessarily one of my favorite Flogging Molly songs. It's a very beautiful song, though. The sun never shines on closed doors. Sun is spelled S-O-N.
okay,
Okay. So right there,
a little clever. I like that.
you have, and it's about, it's really about the lead singer, Dave King, I believe, and I'm probably going to paraphrase and butcher it, but he had talked about that song before, and it is about, he was, somewhat, I don't know if he was exiled from Ireland, but he had left home, basically, and he'd come back. His mom was still there, and it's about his mother, from what I gather, and the sun never shines on closed doors, right?
Oh,
meaning
no.
that,
I kind of see that. Now.
the mom's sitting there waiting, right, for her son to return, and he never does, right? I think.
Is that the general content of the song then?
Yeah.
Does he feel bad? Is it a remorseful song? Does he feel bad about it, or? I mean, what is the emotion of the song, or does he feel shunned by his mother in the song?
No, he's not shunned.
Okay, because he had to leave for work, basically, is the way I always understood it, or whatever.
Mm-hmm. He wants to. Obviously, he wants to go back. He wants to. Sorry, guys. Calabrese just came on the screen, and they're one of my favorite horror punk bands, and I think Pat's as well. They're pretty badass.
They're actually, it's super interesting. They're a little bit of phenomenon for me. They're good songs that are really good, and
I just love their whole mojo.
Well, their whole everything. Yes, three brothers.
They dress like greasers.
Everything.
The best.
Well, I was gonna wear a Calabrese shirt tonight. I had to wear something. I'm wearing my Mr. Monster shirt actually, which is like my least favorite anything, but I do like to support them. But I had a Calabrese shirt that I wore for like already 2 days or so this week, 2 or 3, and it shouldn't have made the rotation at this point. But they got cool artwork. They're cool. They're just straight up cool. It's disgusting.
So that being said,
anyway,
the sun never shines on closed doors. No, but what we need to talk about now. Actually, what reminds... What?
Hey, are you leaving that spot? Because if you're doing The Sun Never Shines on Closed Doors, I got to stick with this screen still.
Go ahead.
Well, each time we see Calabrese, if you don't know these guys, they're three brothers.
Yeah.
How sick. You go see them, at least 10 years ago, when we used to see them as much as we could.
Yeah.
The guy working the merch table, manager, driver... It's Papa Calabrese.
Calabrese. It's the dad. It's awesome.
It's sick.
It's a family business.
And so cool. Imagine supporting your kids like that. Like, that guy must have been me. All I want out of Mitch is a musician. I will support him until I'm dead. I'll live an extra 100 years probably if he's a musician.
I hate to break this to you, but Mitch is an engineer.
That's fine. Yeah, right.
This is happening.
Yeah. Trains. He likes trains, everybody.
Yeah. He does that, or a legit engineer.
Yeah, he's got a good brain.
Pat has a genius for a son, is what I'm saying.
So far, I'll knock on the wood.
It's true.
He's clever. Okay. He's funny. I like him. I love him.
He's the best.
Yeah,
he's the best. He's sleeping right now.
Godfather Bill.
Yeah,
by the way. Yeah.
I am. I'm honored. Mitch will be on the podcast someday. If it goes that long, we'll see. It's up to you listening right now to make sure the podcast goes long enough so that I can interview Mitch one day. On this podcast, that'd be great. That'd be awesome.
So anyway, where were you going to take us?
I was going to take us on a journey to our first concert together.
Now this is exciting because, I told you, I have a bad memory, so I don't know what this is going to be.
So before we get there,
you really want to go there?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
let's refill, and we'll go there.
Okay, you're going to refill these?
Let's refill these beers.
Both? We have 2 glasses
whatever.
each.
It's called 2 drink minimum, so we have 2 drinks in front of us.
Yes.
That's what it's supposed to be.
So,
we're going to
do our refill.
And don't worry, because this blank space that you're about to hear is going to be edited to...
we're going to test his editing skills.
Yeah, it's going to be right to a perfect point where you won't even notice it. See, just like that, we're back in the conversation, and you don't even know that we left.
Oh, right.
And we took a bathroom break. We refilled our beers, and we're ready to go again. You didn't even hear that, though, because my editing is strong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you did hear that, then, I don't know.
Subpar. No problem.
Then
Practice.
I didn't edit this.
Oh, that would be hilarious. Everybody goes and takes a piss break, gets out of their car.
Right.
I've been listening in the car.
I wanted to take us to our first concert together.
Okay.
Which you may be a little foggy on. I remember because it was the first time that I had tickets and I went to a venue and I saw
Do you still have the
a
tickets?
live band. I don't,
Nuts.
unfortunately.
Yeah, I had a stack of them for a while, and then they're all gone.
Because they were cool, because it was the Misfits' 25-year anniversary. Remember this show? Ringing a bell?
Was it with Zoli then?
No, this was, I think, Jerry Only.
Was Jerry
was
only?
still there. Well, he's always there.
But I mean, was he on vocals?
Wolfgang, Doyle.
Yeah.
Doyle was there. I want to say Chud was still drumming.
I'm sure.
And then I forget.
No, it was Zoli then.
Then it had to be Zoli. Okay.
Muscular blonde guy, probably, if you do remember.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, so that was okay because he's a great vocalist. Zoli Teglas, I believe his name is from.
Well, Jerry was doing most of the singing.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Then it was a Jerry one. Okay, because
Yeah.
I saw Misfits once with Zoli as well.
Okay. Then I don't think it was Zoli, but Jerry was doing a lot of the singing at that time.
It must have been him then, because it would be only Chud as backing vocals or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe it was just those three then. I don't know if they had a
Maybe.
fourth. Maybe.
No,
I'm
it's
not
very
sure.
possible it was just
I'm not
three.
sure.
All right, so you're almost as foggy as I am then.
A little bit. But what I do remember is, so my first live performance I'd ever saw, first of all, was REO Speedwagon. And that was in Oak Lawn. I want to say it's something like, if it wasn't this yet, I don't know if it was around then, but they have their Fall on the Green now, right? Mm-hmm. I want to say it was a festival like Fall on the Green. I don't know if it was called Fall on the Green. I'm not sure. I didn't look up how long Fall on the Green has been a thing, but by the way, Fall on the Green.
It's what Fall on the Green.
Fall on the
turned
Green
into,
is also paying us to say that it's a great experience. Take your family to. No. But
I'm so
anyway,
rich. It's
so
sick.
it was one of those. It was one of those festivals, and but the first time I actually had tickets,
Was this Misfits one? Okay.
You got them for me for my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah,
Always.
Thank you. So it was in high school, and I forget. It was either, I want to say sophomore year, so I want to say 16.
Okay.
For me, I want to say that, and you brought me
House of Blues, probably.
House of Blues, definitely.
Yeah? Okay,
Definitely
yeah.
House of Blues.
House of Blues was pretty strong for my high school.
But here's
days.
the thing. This is my first punk show, officially, that
Okay,
I'm
yes.
going to. And it's the Misfits 25 year. Awesome. Can't wait to see the Misfits. I'd already heard American Psycho. I'd already heard Famous Monsters. I heard Static Age, right?
Okay.
I knew that the band itself had changed from that group that I heard and I loved, because I do love Static Age.
But yes, you and I are 90s Misfits guys.
But I love
Or Graves
American Psycho and Famous Monsters, absolutely. And I knew that I wasn't going to see that, but I was going to see the Misfits. And this was a band that was just recently introduced to me, and they were awesome, and I loved it. Before I even knew what the sub-punk genre of horror punk was, right?
Not to go as far as Christian horror punk. We love you, Grave Robber.
Oh, Grave Robber. Yeah, shout out to you. If you
Blood Red
Look, Grave
Vinyl.
Robber, I hope you're listening. I hope you're listening. Right. Blood Red Vinyl. Grave Robber, we've seen your shows live.
Way too much.
You're
love you.
awesome.
You know who I am.
You
I'm
guys
sure.
are awesome. Yeah, you definitely know who Pat is. You don't know who I am because I wear a mask at your show. No, I'm kidding. I don't do that, but you guys do. It's
So
awesome.
anyway,
Yeah.
yes. So Bill's at a horror punk show.
I'm at a horror punk show for the first time. First show ever.
Which Misfits
House
might
Blues.
not be so horror punky in comparison to
Not
some of
necessarily.
the
Right.
smaller bands you go see.
True.
So
True.
anyway, we'll get into that because we had our...
Well, Misfits was punk before I think horror punk was even a thing. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, they were like the creators.
Horror punk
kinda.
became a thing, and then they went, "Oh, well, Misfits are that too." I think,
right.
You know,
Yeah,
but
maybe. Yeah.
Either way, so we go to the show. It's Misfits' 25-year anniversary. So this is what, early 2000s, right?
Yeah, I'll put it on real early.
2000
Especially if you're a
maybe?
sophomore, that means I'm graduating.
2000 or
something.
01,
Yeah,
it's
right.
got to be one of those, right? So We're there, and here's why I want to tell this story, because my first experience at a show, first of all, I go there, and it's like, oh, what's that smell? And that's definitely teen sweat and beer and and who knows what else. But we had this. Since then, it's become a thing. Well, it smells like a punk show, right? Because for whatever reason, I don't know when it happened, but people who went to punk shows, at least the teenagers, did not like to shower or wear deodorant, apparently. Some of them. But anyway, that's beside the point. The first band that comes on, do you remember their opener?
Odds are decent.
When I say the name, you're going to remember.
Well, no, is it?
Right before. I'll say right before. There might have been three bands. So I don't remember the first, but the second
act would definitely be the Impotent Sea Snakes.
It was. Yeah. The Impotent Sea Snakes, yes.
Oh my gosh, that was your first show. That's actually, it's all clicking for me. That's hilarious.
So at first I'm going, it's you and me there, and I'm going, what the hell have you taken me to?
That's probably like my third time seeing them, because they were always with the Misfits for some reason.
I mean, always. Just imagine... Just imagine an S&M group becomes a punk band, and that's the Impotent Sea Snakes. Mm-hmm. They've got,
Scantily clad everybody.
Everybody.
Probably little people, right? I don't even
remember.
Right? It's like a circus.
There were ball gags. There were...
Cod pieces.
Cod pieces
made of steel that you put a grinder against and shoot sparks at the audience.
Yes.
Yeah. It's insane.
Yes. They took a grinder one point on this girl's crotch who was wearing a chastity belt.
Yeah.
And they were
trying to get
shooting
in, I guess.
sparks at the audience.
Yes.
Then they played their song and they went off, and I was like, what? I'm still, at the end, I'm like, I'm scarred for life at this point. Like, what is Pat taking me to? What the fuck is this? And then the Misfits come on.
Well, here, let me.
And all was right in the world, because that was a great. I thought it was a great show.
It's always great in the moment, but if you YouTube any Misfits show, no, really, if you YouTube any Misfits show, they fucking suck live. They're the worst. They're terrible. I know, dope. In fact, that's what made me think of the suckiness. Actually, all right. So we got a screenshot here of some awesome Scarecrow thing.
Yeah.
And I actually, for some reason today, was looking up Scarecrow Man on YouTube, Misfits, awesome Famous Monsters track. And I wanted to catch some live versions. They all sucked. They were all terrible. But the recorded version is so awesome. If you go see them, it's awesome somehow. I don't get it. But any recorded version, it's so bad.
Oh, no.
And I truly believe that, too, because for the longest time... with my whole Czar of Horror Punk title I'll take for the time being, I had quite the collection for a while, just of everything, like tons of VHS tapes. I have your, like, you always seem to get more than one. I have your extras of a lot of things. Okay.
Still, so yes, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, good.
I have quite the collection because of you.
Good.
Yeah.
But anyway, all the VHSs were terrible. Once all the guys moved on, they all kind of figured out a sound somehow. I mean, after Misfits came Graves, when you followed the singer and drummer or whatever, all of their live stuff is phenomenal, and they all sound great. They figured it out.
Oh, remember we went to Milwaukee to see them. Remember that?
That was Graves.
That was a great show.
Was it Graves or Gotham Road? That might have been Gotham Road at that time. Steve come with us or no?
He did.
Okay. I think that was
Graves.
Gotham Road then.
Really?
Yes. Was there screaming in the middle of it? In the middle of their set with Brian Christ? Yes, there was. I do remember that. I remember that. So that was Gotham Road. It was awesome. Because either way, it's Michael Graves, and he's bringing his library with him.
Okay.
And that's actually, if I was going to keep on going with that, is Gotham Road is the best incarnation of Michael Graves.
Oh, it's the best of his band names as well.
Yeah, okay.
Gotham Road's pretty badass.
It's sick. No, they were fantastic live. They had the best songs. They didn't record well when it came to their one and only official EP. All they had was an EP as well, which sucked. And that's like I told you, this world of music is huge.
What was their album? Seasons of the Witch?
That was an EP, extended play.
That was their EP.
It was their nothing, demo or whatever, and that's all we ever got out of that. because that was during the time of him being blackballed as military Republican punk or whatever.
Republican punk, right? That they made fun of on
Daily Show. Was awesome
Yeah.
though. Like he knew what he was.
That was a
doing,
great
too.
bit.
Yeah. But they were sick. You had Paul Lifeless on. This is awesome. Paul Lifeless on drums. Sick drummer.
Yeah, he is.
JV, who I was, a little weary of watching him over the years and stuff. Turns out he's fantastic. But that was their bass player. Loki on guitar.
Yes.
Very good guitarist. Very good backup vocals. And same with JV. Good at his job. Good at backing vocals. That backing vocals is a whole thing I could get into as well. Like, people are made for it sometimes. Like, you're not made to be at the front, but your voice is perfect for a harmony or some sort.
Yeah.
And to stick with the whole thing that I'm blabbing about, Dr. Chud, all of his solo stuff where he wrote some good songs and whatever, he sucks at singing, or that sounds bad with his voice. Prime example is Spider Baby. I don't know if you remember the song.
Yeah.
It was a Graves song for a moment because Chud and Graves were in the same thing. Graves could sing the shit out of that song.
Well, Graves can sing the shit out of anything.
Okay, he used to be able to. I'm gonna go there.
All right,
I'm
fair
gonna go
enough,
there.
fair enough.
And I don't mean to. I feel so badly because I would never say that in front of him either because that's rude. But he was all right. No, but seriously, he peaked at Gotham Road, and I don't know if it's a timing thing for me and where I was at in my life, but I really do believe, and I've had a talk with JV about that.
Did you really?
Yeah, because I asked him.
When did you talk to JV?
Back when I was still on Facebook, so years ago.
So you said, why does he suck now?
Kind of. I was ragging on him a bit, and these guys were all good. That's the amazing thing about social media is like you can talk to these people are rock stars in my world, but they're still just fucking. They're turds on the street to other people if you're not a fan. Because they're making no money and they're whatever.
And Reddit has a lot of that now, like the AMAs.
Oh, the AMAs, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So no shit. Like I've talked to all of my favorite people. TB, Tracy Bird, has that iPod I told you about, actually. I gave it to him. Because it was an extinct thing at that point. And that poor guy still hadn't had an iPod. And this is like the age of cell phones and iPhones and shit. And he still hasn't even had an iPod. And so I mailed it to him. I'm like, no problem, bro. Will you tab out a couple songs for me? Because I wanted to know how to play... I don't know.
So you made a barter with him, and he traded with you.
Yeah, he emailed me. He told me how to play a couple songs, and
that's awesome.
I gave him my iPod. What's awesome is he might remember me for a portion of his life because on the back of that iPod it says Patrick Koman is my master because Jen had it engraved to me.
Oh,
yeah, it's cool. So anyway, yeah, I'm not.
If he's still walking around with that iPod, I love it. I hope he is.
Oh, I hope so.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, that'd be great. It really would be.
There you go.
But no, so yeah, I was emailing with JV on Facebook at one point, and I said like it sounds like he's either not trying or my actual real hypothesis was Michael Graves was recently or about to be in the Marines at that time in Gotham Road. Mm. He was in great shape, and I actually had a belief that maybe a person in good shape can really just belt it out, and actually be able to control their voice and sing.
Sure.
And I still kind of believe that because all their live shows, he did fantastic.
Oh, yeah. It is a muscle. Your voice is a muscle.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Exactly. So, but that said, he also said when it came to recordings and stuff, they were close enough friends where they could actually make him work, he said. Like, no, we made him work.
Really?
More takes than maybe what he's putting in now with his own company with Hydraulic Entertainment and stuff, because I think you and I, one of the last memories of your house, the Evergreen house.
Sure.
We listened to, I think, Lost Skeleton Returns or something like that in Timmy's room. Do you remember this a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Do you? Okay. And I was sitting there pointing out all these like shitty flaws, because there was a lot of Misfits covers on there. They redid "Dig Up Her Bones" at a slower tempo.
Oh, it's terrible.
This at a slower tempo, like with slower tempos, a lower register, maybe tuned down a bit or something. Which most Misfits songs are already like flat.
Right.
Whatever. So let's get back to wherever I have taken us.
Well,
from.
nowadays, I mean, we're talking about
I think it was
going to
just-
shows, and we're
yeah,
talking
live
about
live Misfits. was
listening
the- okay.
to music and reading through the lyrics and actually appreciating a song and nowadays I think since where we were first introduced to music to where we are now, everything is available now. Everything is, you're able to stream it. There's an app for that.
Kids these days, yeah.
These kids these days, I hate
don't
to be
know.
like that, but okay, so like
Well, I don't
you
know
have
if it's a bad thing
Pandora
or a good
now.
thing.
You don't need to
And Spotify.
and Spotify. So why
Which you
buy
guys
albums
missed.
anymore? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So what?
Oh yeah, no, that's a tricky thing. I don't know. I think people will still buy albums.
How do you feel about that? Like,
I'm jaded. I'm sad. I want people to buy albums. I'm with them.
Yeah.
I still did it up until this. You guys missed my huge Spotify sale to Bill, actually, in one of our tests, or not even tests, but Spotify is amazing, people. But
you say Spotify over Pandora?
absolutely.
Okay.
I'm not going to get into it right now. I know you want me to, but I'm not.
Pandora's going to sue us, but that's all right. That's all right.
No, they can't. They can't win. They're terrible.
Oh.
You're not terrible. Your Morse Day station was fine.
I want to hear the rant, but that's okay.
We'll get there. Let me get through that one right there. But is that Mr. Monster? That's my shirt right there. All right, mister Monster, and I'm starting to slur. That's good. Gosh, where were we? Oh, kids these days. I don't know. No, I'm gonna go back for a second. I want to tell you about my first show.
Fantastic. This whole podcast has been about me getting Pat to rant. So this is perfect.
I know. I'm getting good at not biting.
No, please do.
He hasn't
Please
gone
do.
country yet, so I'm safe.
Ooh, well,
But that ends out in a choke. I'll fucking kill you.
How
man.
dare you say that? I'm cutting that out because country does not belong. I even said
It's not
now you made
music?
me say it. Now
Yeah,
I
right.
feel
That's
the
without
one form
an
of music
O,
that we're
by
not
the way.
into is
no O in country. 'Cause that's who
go.
it's for.
Go.
So anyway,
wow.
my first show, John Muir. I'm gonna give you your shout out because
Oh.
he did all the footwork on this one. I love that man forever, and I don't talk to him, but I do. I love him forever. He's great. He and I went to my first concert, 1996. Headliner was Primus.
Ooh.
Which is, if we're going to keep on going on the firsts, which is on our lists here,
Sure.
my first favorite band. Like, that was the first one I dove balls deep into, or whatever you want to call
Primus.
it. Primus.
Okay,
Yeah. Which
okay.
I never even bothered with you, because I was past it at that point.
Not really. But you're a big bass guy, and Primus has your favorite bass player of all time, I believe.
Sure.
Or one of them at least, right?
Yeah, no. Before I learned how to, like, play things, and I don't play music, as you know, and as most of my friends know.
Man.
I do.
You
and I
play
don't.
better than most.
No, I'm not even going to say that. I play better than any novice.
Okay.
I'm a forever novice that's like almost at the intermediate level, we'll say. And so now that I've actually just started learning a couple Primus songs, and
Yeah.
it's not as hard as it sounds or whatever. It sounds awesome. They're just innovative. They brought bass to the front. That's all they did. They changed the tone a bit and brought it to the front, and they made their guitars textural, almost like what a bass. They just flip flopped it. It was brilliant. They just brought bass to the front. It carries a song. It's the rhythmic thing. It's not the root. It's not the backbone. It's the everything, and the guitars is just a little flair. That's all.
Yeah.
But anyway, they were my first show. It was around the time of the Brown album, which is after Went On was Big Brown Beaver, but their hit off that one might have been Shake Hands with Beef. But anyway, it was a killer show. I walked in there. It was my first concert. It was at, I'm already getting sketchy, but it's one of the Chicago venues that had the upper deck, where you could sit in the upper, but there was a ground floor where you could get fucked up. And you would.
Metro?
No,
Metro didn't have that, did
it? doesn't have the upper seating.
No,
So
wait,
it's like
wait,
Aragon.
Aragon.
Yeah.
I bet you it was Aragon.
Okay, it might
Aragon
be.
has that, yeah.
Mr. Muir, Mike Muir, drove us there. It was pretty awesome. He drove us back.
Good man.
Yeah, great man. Really, huge shout out to those two. Not just for the show, but in general. But went in there,
Yeah.
and this no joke, like graduated 8th grade or something like that.
All right.
So I'm still wearing like trying to be cool, or wear maybe my big Janko shorts or something, but I got like a polo shirt with it or something.
You were a Janko shorts kid?
Oh fuck yeah!
Oh man!
Oh yeah!
Oh man!
Believe me, I'm everything. I'm every up until I found myself, I was every trend that was out there. I needed to fit in.
Sure.
Every kid in 7th and 8th grade looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
And who didn't was a fucking loser.
Hi,
loser.
I'm
hey,
a fucking loser.
Yeah, right. Damn charming piece of shit.
Oh
though.
man, yeah. But I didn't know what flooding was until somebody told me I was flooding.
Yeah, right. All right.
Oh yeah, I had my pant
Your
legs.
Jordache jeans.
Oh, my pant legs were at my calves, bro.
Okay.
It was bad.
Well, you were growing.
Bad.
You were growing.
I was flooding bad. I didn't know what that was until someone called it.
Okay.
But anyway, go ahead.
I walk into this place. I see my first real life mohawk in this place. I'm looking like everything is pretty intimidating.
Side note.
Oh.
I miss my mohawk,
Okay,
which you helped shave.
I had a mohawk one time actually, and that was right at the start of balding. Actually, it helped me
Really?
discover my balding. I'm like,
It helped you
ooh.
discover your balding.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that doesn't look right.
But live and learn.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna go with the skullet next. But
I think you just own that term. But that's great. I like the skull.
I walked into this place and it was intimidating. We walked the whole we did a horseshoe through the floor. We came in on the right side of the building.
Sure.
Walked through there.
Okay.
Yeah, cap us off,
Imagine,
however.
yeah.
And we just got looks, hard looking guys, mohawks, whatever else that was just like what you see on TV or just something you haven't even seen before, actual unique independent people. It was too much. We knew our place. I was only in 8th grade maybe, or graduated 8th grade, so that means John Muir's a freshman in high school or something, or a sophomore in high school.
All right.
We're young boys.
Oh, yeah, you're really young, yeah.
Yeah. So we go upstairs, and we find some seats next to each other, and we sit down and enjoy a show. That said, we got 2 opening acts. First act, an unknown Power Man 5000. Yeah, sick. It was sick. They were awesome. It was cool.
Is that the first time you heard him?
Yeah.
Really?
It was before the radio hits, any of it. It was cool. I loved both my... that's the glory of live shows, everybody, too. You discover things. It's amazing. That's how I found the Pimps, if we go back to my first Gotham Road show.
The Good Year.
Yeah.
Later known as the goddamn Pimps.
God, seriously, Bill.
Yeah.
We got 25 hours on this SD card. Welcome to your 8th, 9th, and 10th episode.
Yeah, we're going to use them all.
How do we not get to the Pimps yet?
We could probably do a whole episode on the Pimps.
The Pimps? Yeah, absolutely.
And now part of me wants to reach out to them and see if they'll be a part of it, because I think they would. I think they dig it.
Yeah, maybe. You never know.
I think they dig it.
Yeah,
They might.
We'll put that on hold because...
We'll try, but we
they-
could have a whole episode on just the Pimp shows that
Reka
we've
pulled
gone
it off
to.
with that interview. So
What's that?
Reka pulled it off with that interview that she had that magazine. Yeah,
She did. She did great. She even shot a film during one of their concerts.
that's right. Oh my gosh! All right, so
I
anyway,
was in that one.
Gosh, I
It's
know.
called
I know.
Sweet Revenge. Look it up. I think it's on YouTube still. It's an
Everything's on
amazing
YouTube
little
still.
funny piece.
It is.
Anyway.
It's good. Yeah, no, that was a good one actually. Yeah, Bill's done great work. I'm a fan. I'm not only.
That's
a
why I
fan,
have you
I'm
on the
president.
podcast. I only have fans. I only have
Right.
fans on the podcast. That's
Gushing required. Yes.
that's a Kick Rock rule. Is that only fans can be on the podcast. That's it.
So Power Man finishes up. Next band comes out.
Yeah.
I think this is where the Mohawks belonged, or whatever unique individuals were. An unhitted, undiscovered. Let's bring them up again. Limp Bizkit. Before they
Really?
were anything,
Really.
it was sick. John Muir hated it. I fell in love. Wes Borland, it was one of, he has many characters. You're not a fan, but I'm sure you know he has many characters. He was all black.
Fearless
Literally,
Flying
I
Frog
believe he was
Brigade, yeah.
completely painted black.
What?
Black eyes, everything. And he was a maniac. Fred Durst, that man is a front man. He kind of found some sort of thing that he rolled with in the later years that sucks, that everybody knows.
Yeah.
But before that, dude could scream, dude could rap. He was sick. And yeah, an undiscovered Limp Bizkit they destroyed it, in my opinion. It blew me away. And so, yeah, this is my first concert, and then Primus came on, and I lost my mind and had my own little mosh pit in my chair. because
You were sitting because you were on the upper level.
yes, I went to the upper level, and so I still jammed out. Because if you know me, Bill has gone to shows with me.
Yeah. You're not an
This
upper
is-
level guy. You don't like that. Upper
No,
level.
this is I have a duty, and it's in my blood. I am a participant. I'm a crowd participant.
Yes.
I'm there to feed the band because I know they feed off
And
that.
feel the music and
Yes.
enjoy it.
It's but and I know they feed off it. It's not why I do it. It comes naturally. I need to be in that mess. And you're calling me a music expert. I'm a huge fan of rock. And every sort of reaching end of rock, you know, we can go to funk and whatever, but I'm not a fan of a lot of things as well. You know, none of the hipster stuff, none of the whatever. So I'm not everywhere, but I am your rock ambassador. And rock shows need a crowd. You can't just sit there. You need to be a part of it. You need to give them something. And so I jammed in that chair. It was sick. And it's how I do every show with when I drag everybody with me. I drag people to shows.
Well,
I'll treat you all to a show. Who wants to go?
We went to Andrew WK.
Flogging Molly? Or is it just Andrew WK?
Well, that's the best show
Of your life?
That's a whole different podcast.
Okay.
That's the best show ever. Where Andrew WK opened for Flogging Molly. That was, yes. But we just, I want to say within
Is that how it happened?
the last year or two, we saw Andrew WK.
No, that was actually a long time ago. You're talking about that 10-year anniversary.
Yeah, when was that? How many
That
years
was actually
was that?
probably it was before Mitch.
No,
Yeah,
it was
it was
not.
easily 4 years ago.
Was it?
Easily.
Oh man! All right. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, that
Welcome
show.
to
But
Life, Old Man.
our seats were up high. We were sitting, and at a certain point, we both went down there as well. We had to. We were just drawn there.
It's what you do, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was a
Yeah.
10-year anniversary of I Get
Yeah.
Wet.
Yeah.
Like that was an anniversary show. That was awesome.
That was a great show.
That was awesome.
great show.
There's no more perfect anniversary show. Like there's a lot of
There's
great
no more
anniversary
great
shows.
party band than Andrew WK. I think
It's yeah.
They are just you
What
go
an
there and you just
and I are literally blessed to
Yeah.
have that in our comeuppance or whatever.
yeah, because you just rock out the whole time, and it's nonstop.
Well, the joke was, and literally is,
It's the same rhythm.
here's the
Yep.
tempo for the album.
Yeah. If you go from track to track,
Boom, boom,
that
boom.
tempo he's doing right now is from song to song the same tempo you would hear, but
It's all one
it's
song,
awesome.
but they put rest
They
in.
make it work.
Yeah.
They make it work
Oh
in a
my
weird
God.
way. It's so good.
Yeah, party, party, party. It's sick.
Oh my gosh. Party, party, party. I think that's
That is a real song, but that's not on that album.
no, but I think
That's,
that's
from Aqua Teen Hunger Force or something. Yeah.
I think that's where we have to end it for now, man.
Okay.
I think
Yeah, we could go on for days, and we will right now.
we
But
could
you go ahead and hit
we
stop.
could and we probably will once I hit stop. We're gonna keep going, and
Yeah, we did reach the minimum, but we're going for the maximum. Yes.
I think we're at it's like 4 drink minimum at this point. But anyway, that's it, man. Hey, cheers again, my man. Thank you so much. We'll be doing this again soon. All right.
I'm in.
All right.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate it. We hope you're enjoying them so far. We're going to keep more and more coming at you guys in the near future here. We've got a couple more coming up actually later on this month. We've got a holiday movie podcast where the Kick Rock crew got together, talked about our favorite holiday films. That's a fun one. And then right after that, we talked about one of everyone's favorite Netflix originals, Stranger Things. We got a Stranger Things podcast coming at you, talking about what we think of the show, maybe some predictions we have, all that fun stuff. So that one's going to be a great one too, coming in. Now, if you're thinking, hey, Bill, how can I be more like Pat? You know, what makes him so special? How come he was chosen to be on this podcast? And the answer is nothing. Pat's not special at all. Don't tell him that. It's going to give him a big head and a complex. We don't need that. But the answer to that is you can be on this podcast if you want to. Anybody can. That's the whole point of it, you know? Reach out to us. We want to know your feedback. If you want to be on the podcast, tell us. We'll get you on there. We'll have a good conversation. We'll have a few drinks, a few laughs. It's going to be a great time. You can do that by emailing us at podcast, okay? Podcast at kickerrock.com. PODCAST at kickerrock.com. We simplified it for you. Made it easier. Just one email address. Podcast at kickerrock.com. Thank you so much again. That's going to do it for me. We've been drinking, thinking, and talking shop. We'll catch you on the next one. Cheers, everybody.